Hello and welcome back to Deep Topics with Sean. I'm your host, Sean, and this is another episode of the podcast. And this is the final episode of the podcast, not in general, but the final episode that I will be shooting in this location in my dream apartment. And it's a bittersweet moment because this apartment has fulfilled so much of its promise. But at the same time, there's another chapter and another season that I'm entering in my life. And so, as much as I would love to continue to enjoy this environment, I must move on for now. And I'll be taking Bruce with me over here. And yeah, it's kind of an exciting time. It's a very exciting time. So I want to thank you for listening to this episode. And regardless of which platform you're on, if you'd like to see more of Deep Topics with Sean, then please consider subscribing to the channel, whether it's on YouTube or Spotify. If you like this episode and you want to share it with others, please go ahead and do so, as well as leave a like or a comment or review down below, letting me know what you thought of this episode. And did you agree or disagree with anything that I've shared? Or do you have an alternative perspective that you want to share? Leave a comment or review down below. So, in this episode, I'm going to talk more about how things are going at the moment. And it's a great and wonderful reflection. As you can see, the sun is shining directly on me, and it's really feeling like a warm spring day. And this winter period in Cape Town has not been the greatest. Prior to this point, I always thought that I'm a lover of winter. I thought that I did love winter. I thought I had the wardrobe for winter. But having experienced winter during this time, most of what I can remember is how cold it's been, and not only cold, but affecting my mood and reducing my productivity and really making me down, in a sense, down and kind of like, I want to say depressed, but it was not that extreme. And so I have a greater appreciation now for summer. I have a greater appreciation for the sun, and I have a greater appreciation for warmth and the light, and just how impactful it is on my mental health and my mental well-being. And if you're anything like me, then you also have an appreciation for sun. And I know that in this society, there's often like fear mongering about sunlight, and not just about sunlight, but about like enjoying the sun and enjoying the sun on one's skin and having that experience of being alive and a human living on earth. And in these upcoming few months, I'm definitely going to make the most of my Cape Town summer. And that's something that I'm looking forward to when I thought about, or when I do think about this next stage of my life that I'm going into. I'm calling it my Cape Town summer because it's been a long time that I have been in a positive and clear mindset. And, when I lived in Cape Town when I was a university student, I would always have to leave Cape Town when it came to December. And it's not December right now, but it's going into the spring summer period. I would always be preoccupied with end of semester or school, or exams or projects. And last year, I went to Pietermaritzburg for all of December. And the year before that, I was also in Pietermaritzburg. So I think I've always taken that opportunity in December to go see my family, whether it's been due to the school schedule or just due to choice. But this time, claiming my Cape Town summer and figuring out my life, and not really figuring out my life, choosing to go on a path that involves my dreams and my goals rather than always going back to see the family. It's a new direction for me, and it's a direction that I'm fully embracing because this time, with the sun and with the light and with the warmth, it's always been something that I've enjoyed, and I am ready for shorts and t-shirt weather. And I've not done art in a long time, and my sketchbook is calling. It's calling for beautiful building to draw, and those shorts are calling. I want to go sit at the beach, and I want to enjoy the warmth, and I don't want to be sitting by the heater and thinking about how cold it is, that I don't want to wake up early and all of those things. I do want to wake up early. I want to wake up when my sleep breaks, or when I've had enough rest, and I want to get my day started then. And during this time I've not done that because it's been cold. And even 2 days ago, um, it was snowing on Table Mountain. I was walking throughout Cape Town wondering, is it just me? And then I see on TikTok someone posted a video of the snow on Table Mountain. And I realized, no, it's not just me. It really is that cold. And I'm not into it. I'm really not into it. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan. And I I don't like using the heater. I don't like to have to sit in close proximity to a source of warmth. And if I do have to sit in close proximity to a source of warmth, I would rather that source of warmth be like a fireplace, or, one of those luxury heaters. But there are really things that I have to do in a day. There are things that I have to do in a day. And I don't want to be confined to low mood and thinking about my body warmth. I don't want to be thinking about those types of things. And so it's really opened my eyes about winter in Cape Town and has shifted my perspective to something that I did not consider before. I did not consider the effect of the season on my mental health and my mental well-being. And I've seen that there is an effect. There is an effect, and there is a detrimental effect. It's not so detrimental that it like incapacitates me, but I have noticed a difference, and my productivity is lower, my vitality is lower. The things that I enjoy doing in my life, I've kind of felt constrained by winter. And I'm so glad that it's appearing to be over, because I'm enjoying the sun. And look, it's like I love it. I love it so much. And I love walking in the sunlight, and I love feeling the warmth on my skin, and I love knowing that my body is being fed and my vitality is increasing. And it's really shown me how to optimize my mental health and my mental well-being to be able to get the most out of my day. So one thing that I've recognized is that usually when I wake up, I I usually wake up around 3 or 4 a.m. Don't ask me why, but sleep ends at that time. And when sleep ends at that time, during winter, I've always forced myself to continue to stay asleep in bed. But I continue to notice that me forcing myself to sleep, even though sleep is done, rest has been sufficient, it's over, it's done, it's caused tension in my head. It's caused tension in my head, and I experienced that this morning when it was cold. I chose to sleep longer than I needed to, and it caused tension that I can still feel right now. I can feel right now that I forced myself to stay in bed longer than I needed to, and I'm still feeling the effects hours later. I don't want to do that. When sleep is done, sleep must be done, and I want to wake up then. I know now that is done with ambient temperatures and like room temperature warmth. So I know that that's good for me. And another thing that I want to do is that, I want to do impactful things related to my income in a day. And during this winter period, I've been waking up relatively later, and I don't like that. I don't like that. At first it appeared to be like, okay, this is the season for deep rest. And then I recognized that 2 months of deep rest was sufficient, and the third month was entering a territory of like luxury, but not just luxury, like overkill. Month 3 of deep rest was overkill. I did not need that amount of rest. And I've seen the interaction of the season with my mental state. And I'm recognizing now, truly recognizing now, that if I want the best out of myself, I must know what is enough rest. And I must know what is enough deep rest. Rest, you get it on a day by day basis. Deep rest might take weeks, might take months, but will not take 3 months. Will not take 3 months. I've seen that something that I've kept in mind was that when I first moved to Cape Town in 2022, it was September. Yeah, it was the end of September 2022 when I moved to Cape Town. And that was after that long period of building my business, getting my business right to be able to move to my dream city. I moved here and then I was like on peak, you know, really working, working, working from September 2022 up until July 2023 when I applied for that business intelligence analysis job, and then was on peak also throughout that time. Didn't take a rest because my work was remote in my business and also in that job. Didn't take a rest, even went to Pietermaritzburg, took time off, but didn't take time off because I was still working. So when I left that job in May of this year, I did need that time for me to rest my body, my mind, and really my entire life. And I thought that time, I thought that it was going to take more time than it actually did. But I know that, by month two, I was rested sufficiently and I was sufficiently rehabilitated from the chaos of that business, from the chaos of that environment, from that toxic business intelligence analysis job. The job itself wasn't toxic, the people were. The environment was dysfunctional, toxic. I thought I needed more rest. I thought I would be resting until December. And that was my thinking when I thought that, okay, I might go to KZN because I just need to rest. Little did I know, I was sufficiently rehabilitated back to health in 2 months. I just needed 2 months, and I was like clear, sharp, and full of vitality, even though, what I mentioned, the weather was not working in my favor. So now at this point, there are definitely things that need my attention in terms of action, in terms of work. But I've told myself, I'm not going to do it yet. I'm going to wait until I go to my new place, which, by the way, I am just moving to a different suburb in this vicinity. And I went to the new place yesterday and I did a whole deep clean. And, the fumes from that really did make me, it like, note to self, wear a mask if you're deep cleaning. Note to self, get someone else to deep clean. What are we earning this money for if not to pay people to do things that we don't want to do? I don't want to clean anymore. I should be hiring someone to clean. So yeah, I did the deep clean in the new place. I like swept the floors, mopped the floors, wiped all the shelves, wiped doors, windows, steamed the mattress, all of those types of things. I did all those things. And that new place is really giving like Cape Town summer. It's giving Cape Town summer. I was like dumping the bleach water into the toilet, into the bathroom, in the bathroom, and I recognize that this breeze that's coming through the window right now, it's giving summer. It's giving summer. And just the way the blinds hit the wall, it's giving summer. It's giving Cape Town summer. And this kitchen that I walk into, it's giving summer. Like I have my space in the fridge there, and I have my cupboards that are also my space there, and like nobody's minding my business. Nobody's telling me, hey, I saw you with this person, or why did you come at this time? And that's exactly what I'm looking for, and I'm looking for a place to live. I don't want anybody in my business. I don't want anybody asking me questions about my life. And I really want my peace, my privacy. And I think that I also don't want to romanticize the new place, but I recognize that I'm kind of like different now. I'm a bit away and evolved to the point that nobody can say dumb shit to me anymore, and I'm just going to listen to them. You know, I've snapped out of it. I've come to my senses, and very cutesy, very mindful. And I love that. I love that I can now, I'm becoming a better version of myself. And I am now who I always wished I would, who I always wished someone would be for me. You know, I grew up in that space of like tramped on, beaten on, lied on, um, belittled, diminished, those types of things. There are too many episodes of this podcast for you to hear about my upbringing. There's also too many episodes of this podcast for you to hear about toxic works environments where people try to do the same thing to me. But each time, as I've continued to meditation, listen out there, meditation. As I've continued to meditate, I didn't start out meditating wanting to be the great spiritually enlightened one. I started out meditating because I was working with boss that was like emitting demonic stuff, anger, fury, wrath, those types of things. And I wanted to be able to hold myself together, literally, prevent myself from falling apart by continuing to go into that environment each day. And so when I learned meditation from like Emily Fletcher, Ziva meditation, can't remember what her course was. I know she was in Mind Valley though. I learned meditation and I was doing it. I was like experiencing all of these. I was really like figuring out what meditation is. But I was doing it and I was starting to notice that what my mind was telling me was really secondary to my experience of the mind. I was starting to see that conditioned believing I'm a mind. But as I meditate, when you meditate, you watch the mind, you start to see that, wait, I can see the mind and its thoughts, and I can say no, and I can say yes to the right thoughts. And if I say no to certain thoughts, then I can change those thoughts and I can put new thoughts in. I can push the mind to do things that I'm not in the mood for. I can also allow the mind to push me if I'm unconscious, which sometimes I do. I am prone to that, and I have to really like remind myself, no, I don't want to be subject to those things. So let me snap out of it. But as I continue to do that, then meditation has allowed me to like separate from some of those conditioned characteristics that were really unhealthy for my healthy whole functioning self. And some of those conditioned characteristics was like believing that people have my best interests at heart. And that's something I failed with that lady that I worked with, who was from Oxford or something like that. She, if I was unconscious, I would take her word that she has my best interest at heart. But what I realized is that all of those people in the in that work environment had their own interests at heart. And even with family members, when they talk to me about things they want, why are you telling me about things you want for me? What they're really doing is they're telling me about their interests, seeking to achieve those through me. And I've started to become more aware now. Like, I remember saying in last week's episode, I envision my vitality self as like radiating, my mind radiating. And it is at that point, I don't think it's as developed as my 60-year-old self, but I'm not even, I'm 30, I'm like 50% there. So in knowing that these types of things exponentially grow makes me realize that I was once fooled into believing that people had my intentions, my best intentions at heart, to the point that I would listen to stupid dumb shit that they would say, and I would not stand up for myself. But then I started to realize, even though that business intelligence toxic work environment was a toxic work environment with really fucked up people and dysfunctional people, it was such a great opportunity for me to practice standing up for myself, saying what I believe in, disagreeing, calling out dumb shit, calling out stupid people, flagging things, calling out red flags. And so, in that dysfunctional, toxic environment, I really got an opportunity to refine myself, to develop myself, to present the growth and to present the learnings. And what I saw is that presenting the grown, healthy version of myself, it was not accepted there because that place is only for broken and dysfunctional people. And me not being broken and dysfunctional made it look like I don't fit in. That's something you need to watch out for. If you're listening to this podcast and you find that you're in an environment where either like people are not aligning with the values, or there's always angry people, or they're making their problems yours, or they're blaming you for things that you're not responsible for, or they can't take responsibility for their actions, or they don't want to listen to the voice of reason, or they really have big heads and power trips, or they have ego trips, or their mothers never loved them, or their fathers never loved them, or they're trying to get validation and affirmation from strangers. If you're seeing all those wheels, or you are already on a roller coaster every day, or you're in a toxic cycle, or you're like someone's fighting with you every second day, or you're receiving angry emails every week. If you're seeing those weird things, then you must not make it normal for yourself. Like my mom told me something like this recently, like, this person didn't invite me to this thing, and she was trying to make me feel better about not being invited to that thing by that person. But then I got this thought in my mind: do I want to make that normal for me? Do I want to make it normal for people to just ignore me? People who say they care about me, people say they love me, to just ignore me. Do I want to make that normal? I don't want to make that normal. Fuck off and let me move on with my life. Not you, mom, but from those people that are excluding. From those people that are excluding, I don't want to make those people normal. I must move on from that. I must not normalize dysfunctional behavior, especially now that I can see it. I can see it. And, in professional settings, dysfunctional behavior is, it has become normalized. It has become normalized that people are suffering, struggling, talking behind closed doors, talking in private conversations about their struggles and challenges, hating their jobs, hating their lives, hating the people they work with. But what you're making it normal by continuing to go there and continue to trying to fit in with those behaviors. You're not saying anything, you're not standing up for anything, you're not having a spine, you're really making those dysfunctional things normal. Don't do that to yourself. I did that to myself, and take it from me, don't do that to yourself. You'll just end up with having to rehabilitate yourself back to health, like I did. When I moved into this apartment, I remember telling Lindy, like, Lindy, I'm only like 45% back to health, because remember, in my old apartment I had mold and all dysfunctional neighbors, and all smelling fecal matter in the street because it's sewage is blocked, and really the whole range of challenges you can dish out to a human, it was dished to me, and I was dealing with that for 11 months. So when I moved here, before I moved here, I moved to Sunnydale and got a bit more dose of that controlling woman who from day 3 was telling me, like, I shouldn't be hanging my underwear in the bathroom. But nobody else in that household is washing their underwear. I'm washing my underwear and I'm hanging out to dry. So I really was at 45%, not just physically, mentally, spiritually. I was at 45%. And I was hoping that this apartment would bring me to at least 70 or 80% back to health. What happened though was that this apartment over-delivered. It over-delivered. I'm at the moment like 90 to 95% back to health. And when I say back to health, I don't mean back to a version of myself that I was before. I mean better, faster, stronger. I'm better, faster, stronger in ways that I wish I could have been back then. I didn't even know that this version of myself was possible, but it comes from doing meditation, watching YouTube videos, watching the psychologists. They talk about things like dysfunctional families, scapegoating, golden child, having boundaries, narcissism, all of the. I'm learning from the YouTube psychologists about things that I didn't even know these things had a name. I didn't even know that these were prevalent in society. dysfunctional behavior is prevalent in society, and I didn't know about that. That people are abusive, toxic, addicted. In a household, you can have one person who's angry, and everybody must feel that one person's emotions. I thought that was a me thing. I thought in certain households in the family, this one person will come back from work, and everybody must feel how they are feeling. Nobody is allowed to feel joyous or happy or have their own emotions. Everybody must feel those emotions. And wow, look, there's a sign on that truck that says breathe, we've got this. Like, I open yourself up to the synchronicities, and you realize that they're not synchronicities after all, that this reality is a conscious entity, and it's communicating to you through signs and symbols, which, by the way, note to self, read that book that's in your Google Play about science. So as I continue to learn from the YouTube psychologists about stupid, fucked up things that the humans have done, and they've also incorporated undiagnosed mental illness in their families. They do addictions. You see addictions in families. You also see addictions with like alcohol, cigarettes. You see people hating their lives. You see people hating their work. You think all of that is normal, but actually it's not normal. It's dysfunctional. And if you don't question that, you might just fall into it and think that it's normal. Like me, when I was working at Unilever, I was always complaining about my manager to the colleague, and the colleague was also dealing with the same problems with that manager. And then we developed a friendship over how much we hated that person, and also hated our lives and hated that job. And every weekend I was like drinking. I was drinking every weekend, and I was really like trying to escape my life and forget my life. I was also smoking weed a lot because I really hated my life and I really did not want to be present. I was smoking weed a lot, not only in those job, like not in the job, but like after work, but also in that Joburg space. I also was smoking cigarettes after work. And even when I was living with my family in 2022, I was so like felt out of place there that I was smoking weed all the time. I was smoking weed all the time. I would literally mentally want to be anywhere other than there. And even my body was showing me, because I was facing all of these ailments. I told you before that the doctors could not tell me what's wrong, but my lower insides were bleeding like heavily. And I know now that my immune system was overly active because of like just the pressure of feeling like I don't fit in. So I'm glad and I'm thankful. I'm glad and I'm thankful that this apartment, thanks Lindy, this apartment, who I just had tea with Lindy like an hour ago. And this apartment has really like over delivered on its promise. It never really promised anything. I had expectations for it, but I did not have my expectations too high. And it really over delivered. It over delivered, and I'm so grateful. But something that I've experienced also in this apartment throughout this time towards the end, I just didn't know what to do with the space. I didn't know what to do with the space, and I'm in need of some type of change at the moment. And at the moment, I'll be honest, that change is a constraint. It's a constraint. It's a downgrade from where I am right now. Where I am right now is not the peak of luxury, but it's definitely luxury. I mean, living in Claremont and having a view from the sixth floor, and it's definitely luxury. But this place that I'm going to, it's in a premium suburb also. So it might be a downgrade in terms of apartment, but there are definitely benefits to it that I can be glad about and happy for. Like that space is more quiet than it is here. Like I've been meditating for like 5, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. I'll be meditating for 6 years this year. And this year that I started tracking my meditation in like September of last year. So my meditations got deeper, and at the moment, like I can say that I'm competent. Not just competent, I can say that I'm above average when it comes to meditation, and my goal is Olympic level. I know there's no Olympic level meditation, but I just think to myself, if meditation did have an Olympic level, that I want to take it there, and I think I might take it there in 10 years. 10 years. 10 years of taking it there. So this place that I'm going to right now, it has a level of privacy and quietness that's going to allow my meditation to go to another level. And that's so important to me because in this apartment, um, something that I've noticed is that, I'm close to the traffic, so I can hear the cars, and I can hear the cars even when I'm meditating. And then every like half an hour, you will have this motorbike going down the street. Some guy with small dick syndrome making his presence known. And then, like, sometimes you'll have some like car exhaust just making the loudest sound. And there's hoots, and sometimes you will hear someone shouting Weinberg. And when I meditate in the bathroom, which is the bathroom is a space in which I can get a bit more silence than my studio here. In the bathroom, what I face is that I can hear someone in the next apartment flushing their toilet. And I can hear when someone has the shower on, I can hear the water moving through the pipe. And sometimes I can hear, there you hear a motorbike. Sometimes I can hear a pipe vibrating. So I'm looking, those things wouldn't affect the average person. They would be like almost undetectable. But to me, yeah, it would be almost undetectable. When Lindy was standing at the window, she said, you know, isn't it wonderful that we can't hear the traffic out there? I did agree with that. Sorry if you're Lindy, watching this, Lindy. I did agree with that, but I can hear the traffic and it's a bit loud for me at the moment. So this place, it's definitely everything I hoped it would be and more. But there are just some little aspects which I need to move on from because I'm looking for more. I'm looking for a place to deepen my meditation. That's what I'm looking for. It's looking like my life at the moment. My life choices are all being made around what's going to allow me a deeper meditation. What type of thinking is that? If you're listening to this, what type of thinking is that when your life is driven by how deep can you go into a meditation? It shows truly what my values are. Like I do value wealth, I do value comfort, I do value convenience, but I value a deeper meditation more than all of those things. I value deeper meditation more than romantic love. I think I'll choose to be celibate for the rest of my life if I could be promised that I'll reach samadhi every time. I'll let go of attraction, I'll let go of all of these like spicy foods, and like I'll let go of cheese, I'll let go of sugary snacks and cakes. I'll let go of all of these things if I can get like a consistent, like, infinite consciousness. I'm ready for it, and I want it. I want it. And I know that there are ways of thought that say that it's already your state, that you just need to realize it. But I'm really at this place where you can see, actually, if you're following me on any of the social medias, you can see truly what my values are. Like, I value my peace, calm, and clarity, because I've started to recognize now that the mind is like it's like a protoplasm. I don't know, you don't know what a protoplasm may be, but you know what like a slime is. The mind is like a slime, it's like a jelly. It happens to take this form of a human body, but really it's like, it appears to be concentrated in the space, but it's kind of non-local in that it's um, diffusively expanded and emanating all throughout this vicinity, including the universe. So knowing that the mind is like shaped by nature means that it has its goals, its drives, and its desires, and most of those things about survival. So not just survival in like the keeping oneself alive sense, but survival in like the humans have eaten wheat for so many thousands of years that there's now like an adaptivity to wheat consumption and maybe even a craving. And the same for sugar, and the same for oils, and the same for fats, and the same for those weird dietary choices. And some emotional states appear to be more exciting than others, like the negative emotions, even though they might be detrimental to who we're trying to be and what we're trying to create in our lives. So knowing that, seeing that the mind is like moving like this, and its movement is seen as a new thought and a new thought and a new thought. We see thoughts in our mind as flashes and as images, or at least that's how I see it. I see thoughts as an image, as a another sign. Rest assured. Wow, thank you, universe, thank you. um Another sign, getting you there and back. I appreciate the support, universe, I appreciate the support. And like I've seen, I continue to observe the mind in meditation, so I see the thoughts flash moving, and now I'm telling you that the flash of the thought looks like a flash, but it's actually a movement. It's considered like a wave on a sea. In Sanskrit, it's called a modification, like a movement, like a change from an initial state. So seeing it move and move and move over this recent time, I've started to recognize that it might offer me that thought, but I actually want that thought. Let me change it immediately. Let me change it not just with one thought, but with three and four and five. And let me go on my own tangent narrative that is aligned with the type of mind I want to develop. And also, not just that, but like not just changing the mind, but like noticing that there are some states in my mind incorporated from dysfunctional family members where I have like the accuser. I have the accuser. Like the accuser says to me, why you did that? Why you didn't do that? The accuser says that to me. It's an incorporated mental attitude from a dysfunctional family member who had the same attitude. I also have the criticizer. Like the criticizer, often when I make a mistake, the criticizer is berating me internally. And I know it's a fragment of my mind that, but I have the accuser, I have the criticizer. There's one more which I can't remember right now, but I've noticed those three dysfunctional mental attitudes that are present there. And I think you might also have those. I think you might also have your version of the criticizer, and you might have your version of that, the accuser as well. And then to balance that, I started to recognize that, like, what positive, like, functional attitudes do I have? And there are some positive functional attitudes. For instance, like the humble, the humility. I did grow up with in like a poor family, but only recently did I recognize that me and my mom were considered a different family, or were considered a sect of the family, and there were various sects of the family, and it was not one family. It was appearing as one family, but each household had what they considered a unit. And my unit with my mom was poverty. That was our unit. That's what we were defined as. So with that, it did manifest as a bunch of like, remember, I was a high achiever, I was a high performer, so there was a bunch of like academic excellence there, which took me in the prideful direction. But deep down internally, I had this feeling of I'm like the lowest of the low. And that was not the bad seeing it. That was not seeing it in a bad way. That was not even seeing it as the lowest of the low. That was seeing it as like, you're just like everyone. You are just like everyone, and that's okay. That gave me like a humility. That gave me a humility of like, maybe this outward ego manifestation based on achievements is suggesting pridefulness and superiority, but deep down inside, you do know how to be chill. You do know how to be chill and average and normal, even though your life is not asking that of you. It's really, honestly, truly, it looks like my life is asking of me extraordinary things, which I'm embracing, if I need to be that example for people, then maybe I must do it. And I have been that example in a lot of ways. And so this way that's also meaningful to me of the great spiritual enlightenment, I'm embracing that, and I'm grabbing it, and I'm doing the difficult things that need to be done. Even with the wealth and the business, I'm doing the difficult things that need to be done. And I'm truly seeing that, it's not that the spiritual texts advise you to be lacking in wealth. They also advise you to be unattached to wealth and to not act in demonic ways when you think you have wealth, and seemingly when you think you have power, to not act in demonic ways. Continue to be noble and humble and kind to the average person, and so forth. So when I see like people selling stickers on the intersection, knowing that they're sleeping in a shelter, I don't feel, I actually do feel like I'm in a position to contribute to you. And I don't think to those people like, why aren't they doing this and this and this? Because again, that would just be the, what's that? The criticizer, or any one of those aren't dysfunctional archetypes that are still lingering around in my mental space somewhere. Instead, I know that if you think that selling stickers at the intersection is the best you can do, then who am I to come tell you what's the best you can do? I can offer you a new way of seeing things, but that's not going to change what you think is best for you, or what you feel like you have tried, and from all of those options you're choosing that one. So I take the stickers and I make the transfer, and I send the money, and I don't care what to use the money for. You know what to use the money for. You have a mind. You know what you want in your life. And so, like, there was this guy who in Claremont, he was just like the dirtiest, and it looked like life has beaten him. Life had beaten him, and he just gave up, and he completely is not interested in the standard societal structures, or even integrating and so forth. But I was drawing the civic center. I was sitting at the civic center, and I was drawing the building, and he came to sit next to me. At first he wanted Coke, and then he came to sit down, and then we had a discussion, and over the entire 10 months we developed some type of familiarity, where whenever I'd see him, or whenever I could and I had the budget for it, that I would buy him some food. And that's the best I could do. That really is the best I could do. There are times he wanted cigarettes, but I'm not feeding that attitude. I'm buying you food, coffee, what you like, tea. Okay, I'll ask you I ask you what he likes, because I don't want to have an attitude of I know what's good for you. You tell me. You want cornflakes? You want breakfast? What breakfast you want? You want cake? Okay, whatever. There it is. And for me, that was an opportunity for me to say to him, I see you. You're like me. You're just like me. Except this costume that you're wearing is a bit filthy. You're wearing a filthy costume, but you're just like me, and you're kind of smarter than most people I've met. You're smarter than 90% of the people that I've met. And the way you think about things is so wonderful. You have such a beautiful mind. It's unfortunate that poverty is overshadowing what you can contribute. And it also showed me that there are people he's interacted with that to them he looks weird, but they are the weird ones. Exactly what I experienced in all of these work environments. The abusive, dysfunctional ones are telling you that you don't fit in with them. Why you want to fit in with them? Then I realized I don't want to fit in with them. I don't want to be like you. So I'm glad of his attitude, and I'm starting to, that's what I can say I learned from him. I never got his name. He never gave me his name. He never gave me his name. And yet we had a long 10-month relationship of seeing each other multiple times a week, and having a smile. And the light in my eyes sees the light in your eyes. I know we're the same. I know that I'm wearing a human costume, and you're wearing a human costume, and we appear to be different in wealth terms, but I know we're the same. And I'm gonna talk to you like you're like me. I don't know where he is right now. I hope he's okay. I haven't seen him in a long time, but I hope you're okay. I do send out positive vibes and good thoughts to you. And so the point that I'm making is that I've started to recognize that I can shape my mind to become the better, faster, stronger version of myself. And I don't even know what that better, faster, stronger version of myself looks like, but I do have a vision. And sometimes in these psychedelic trips, I get a vision of my future self. It's very, you know about the holographic principle. It's heavily loaded with information, even though it's one glimpse. It's just a glimpse, the glimpse of my vitality self was in sunflower fields, and the sun was radiating down at me like it is right now. And just my mind was beaming, but I could tell at the moment from that image, I was not eating baked goods. I was probably only, in the future self, I'm probably only eating vegetables and fruits. And yeah, I'm not drinking any sugary things, not consuming any artificial sugar, glucose, those types of things. Not eating any of the starches, corns, not eating the oils and those types of things. So I can see in that one glimpse um, a lot of information. So that allows me to then reverse engineer. If the psychedelic trip showed me um, my future self, it then allows me to reverse engineer the future self by understanding various, like even now, as I'm talking to you in this podcast, I can still see it in my mind's eye. In my mind's eye, I can see it, and it's not just a glimpse. I'm immersed in it. It's a 360 view in which I'm standing in the middle, and when I look down, I can see like what I'm wearing also. I'm wearing jeans right now, but my future self is not wearing jeans. My future self is wearing shorts. I'm enjoying the sun and I'm taking it in. And my future self is not like self-conscious about the leanness of the body. In this society, having a lean body, yeah, you can be considered sick, or people think like something is wrong with you because everybody's consuming so much sugar, fat, oil, all of these things, that this like puffiness is considered to be healthy. Have you seen the people that look like they're like puffy? What's that about? That's not healthy to me. To me, healthy is not the way you look, it's how you feel. And I know now how I feel. Like there's so many health challenges that I faced while growing up, like the acne thing. Nobody told me that acne was like an intestinal problem. Nobody told me about that. Everybody was talking about suffering with your skin. Nobody told me that, Sean, you're eating some weird things and you are creating like scars in your insides, and your body is struggling to excrete poisons. And that's what's happening on your face. Nobody told me that. Because I guess they didn't know either. Or they, when you try to be like in some of these Indian families, all they're eating is oil and sugar. Oil and sugar, and then you end up dying with this cancer and this disease and that cancer and cancer of this and cancer of that, and oh god, fuck that. It does take like courageous action to make new decisions, but you know what, when you choose to separate from those people that are bad from you, even though those people might be your family members, then do it, because otherwise, you're going to set up the same destiny as everyone, which is dying a painful death. Sorry, I don't want that. I don't want to die in agony like literally everybody I've known. Everybody who's died has died in agony, and some points I'm even wishing for death to pull them as fast as possible. That's not life to me. Sorry. I've seen a lot of people that have been still healthy, all functioning in their old age, and they're not suffering. So I choose those people as my role models. And I've started to meet some wealthy people, like just sitting in a coffee shop. I was sitting in Starbucks, and this guy came up to me to help him to reset his password for his like online casino account. And then he tells me he's a millionaire and he's driving all these cars, and he gives me his number to contact him for like just talks. And then I was sitting in another restaurant and I asked someone a question, and they tell me, well, they're also a millionaire and they have a multi property portfolio. I ask, are you available for business mentorship? They share their number. So I'm seeing now that as I continue to look at the vision of who am I, who do I see? These psychedelic trips are not for nothing. They're not for play. They're for healing, and they're also for expansion of consciousness, and they give me access to expanded awareness that can sometimes bring me insights about what the future is saying. And I don't mean in a fortune telling sense. I mean in, like, I can see my future self, or I choose to see my future, a template of a future version, which I can choose to see in the present moment, so that I can reverse engineer and follow it and step into that. So the universe then is now coordinating. When I think I've noticed, like, when you make the intention of like, okay, I'm gonna decide on this and I'm gonna go for it, going with the intention, now the universe is saying, okay, you've decided, because the universe is really you. It's like a projection of your internal. So now it's coordinating to bring to you the thing you want. Not the thing you want, but the thing you have decided that is for you. So I've decided for me that, yeah, it's wealth. Have it. Don't be demonic like some of these people you see. Some of these wealthy people you see are demonic. Don't be demonic with your wealth. Don't be abusing people with your wealth like some of these wealthy people are abusing people. Don't be abusing people. Don't be prideful. Don't be having unhealed mommy and daddy issues. Be kind, be noble, be gentle. Sometimes you have like a bad day, but restrain the negative emotions as much as possible. Feel them, but don't allow other people to bear the brunt of that. They don't deserve it. And continue to move in the direction of the thing that is most important to me, which is God, the infinite consciousness, God. And the only way I can see God is in the deepest meditation. So I must then facilitate, my life must shift to allow me deeper and deeper meditations. My life was also shift, remember I spoke about wealth, my life was also shift with freedom to allow me to come into contact with those people that are on the higher levels of consciousness that can help. They can help. They can share something. I know that the guru truly is non-physical, but I also know that minds exponentially grow. And so being in the vicinity of those people that are on that level is very beneficial. I've spoken about my visions before. Like, these are not visions like esoteric visions. These are visions that I have for my life, which are like, I want to meditate at the holy spaces, because this expansion of consciousness thing, meeting God, realizing that it's me the entire time, not me, Sean, in this physical form, but this pure, unconditioned self that is really all things. I want to do it. Don't waste time. Don't waste time following ridiculous things, following people's affirmations on a corporate ladder, following this award from that random place that doesn't mean anything, following that X amount of money that you just don't know what to do with it anymore. Have intention with your things. Like, facilitating the expansion of my consciousness is the most important thing to me. Wealth can facilitate the freedom to allow me to flexibly move my life, because wealth is like the currency of this society. So you must have sufficient awareness of it, not be obsessed with it. And then continue to work on the meditation, because that's the most important thing. Olympic level, remember I said Olympic level for me, at least. I don't know about you, but if you need help with that, then just reach out. And having a positive impact. Like, I was readjusting the bio on my social medias, and I adjusted it to like helping high performers meditate, and thrive in a volatile world. Because I recognize that that's really the people that want to meditate. Like the average person doesn't want to meditate, and the average person is too much bogged down in, is this religious, is this spiritual? So you get, you follow me and you take whatever you can. But the people that I want to work with are the people that have decided that this is, that they do want to prioritize their mental, and those are the people I want to work with. And allowing me to say that, it took a lot of time for me to say that, you know what, I don't just want to speak to everyone. I want to speak to the serious people. I want to speak to the people that are already on that level to say, I want to do something about this. You know, your mind is the best, most powerful tool you have. You want to sharpen it, you want to clear it. Work with me. Let me show you. Let me teach you about deep meditation. Not just about meditation, let me teach you about deep meditation. So, in summary, this episode, it's showing me that I've made a decision, and I've made continuous. When I moved to Delft, I did have a quiet place to meditate. When I moved here when I moved to Sunnydale, I didn't. When I moved, I just stayed there for 1 month. When I moved here, I did have a relatively quiet place to meditate. But this was not just about a quiet place to meditate. It was more about like an overall holistic, uplifting space for me to grow and develop myself. It had a relatively quiet place to meditate. My next stage, each time I'm looking for a more quiet place to meditate, my next stage is giving me that also. My next stage is also giving me more freedom because it needs less for my budget than this current place. So allowing me to see that I'm progressing, I might be, stepping back in some ways that are not so impactful, but that I can compromise on, stepping forward in other ways that are more impactful that I'm not willing to compromise on, makes us a balanced process and makes us a balanced movement forward. I'm moving forward and I'm embracing my Cape Town summer. Like, I've enjoyed this. The sun is in my face. I love it. I love it so much. I do feel warm, but I don't feel uncomfortable. I feel like, thank you. I feel like, thank you for the warmth that I've really have hoped for this over the past 3 months, but Cape Town winter, I might not be doing that next year. In essence, I want to leave you with in this episode that when you decide that there is something that you truly value, and it needs you to make up your mind on that you do truly value that thing. And when you do make up your mind and you have an intention, you can develop a template, like the way I do, but I do it with psychedelics. You can develop your template just in your journaling or your conscious thinking of that self that embodies all of those characteristics, and then you can reverse engineer it from the present moment to ask yourself, what is that future version of myself doing that I can start to do right now? Meaning, inevitably, as you practice those things, you find that you finally embody that future version of the self because of the actions you took way back then. So when you do that, you'll also see that the universe, because it's connected to you, and it's no way for it not to be connected. You are a child of the universe. You're not randomly born. You're born into it, and your consciousness is not randomly originating. Your consciousness is a gift from the already conscious universe. So you've inherited all of these things, and you'll see that the factors will start to align. You don't need to consciously, logically understand. Get away from that idea of understanding why things happen. You don't need to understand. You just need to know that everything is there for you to take something from it. Even in the most weirdest situations, like when I told you about me working at that business intelligence analysis job, it was so dysfunctional, toxic, but it gave me the opportunity to practice being the better version of myself that I always wished I could be. And so when I left that place, I never left that place down or broken. I left that place knowing that Yes, I did it. I did it, and I stood up for myself. I stood up for myself, and it rocked their worlds. So I'm glad for that. Um, and no, to me, there's more to go. You'll never be done growing. Even after death, you will still expand in consciousness in some non physical space. It appears that evolution is the thing that is happening here, and there'll never be an end to it. So you've just got to keep going. You can take a rest, you can take a break, like I did for 2 months, and then I took a third month of break, which was overkill. But now I'm recognizing that, sometimes I have a mood to not do something that I know is meaningful, but I'm gonna just override it and do it anyways. And I'm so glad and grateful. I'm so glad and grateful, and thanks for tea, Lindy. And yeah, you were really someone special. You were really someone special, and you're still there. You're still here. You're still in my phone. We can still connect at any time. And Sean Abrams is still there. Sean Abrams has always been someone special. Still there. Um, so I continue to meet more and more people that are treating me the way I truly deserve to be treated, and they treat me with like reverence. They treat me with like respect, and they treat me with like true value. You see who I am. I do not have to over explain myself. Just by listening to me, you see who I am, and for that I'm grateful to those people that are not insecure or threatened by me being myself, because I never go around anywhere trying to make anybody feel bad about themselves. I always try to be myself. It just so happens that some people feel internally are unfairly comparing themselves to me when they should be comparing themselves to who they were yesterday. That's what I do. I take inspiration from these people like Stephen Bartlett, Alex Hormozy, all of these people. I take inspiration from them, but I don't want to be them. I want to be myself. I'll take what I need. I like that from you. I like that from you. I like that from you. I'm going to take that. And then the other thing is, you just keep it to yourself. I'm going to be a better version of myself. I want to be myself. Who do I want to advise my past self to be like? A better version of me. So I hope that this episode was helpful to you. And if you'd like to join my newsletter, Thriving in a Volatile World, I send out a weekly newsletter with insights on thriving in a volatile world. And click below, there's a link for that. Please join. It's an email newsletter. And if you want to work with me in my personal mentorship and coaching, then there's a link for that as well. I help high performers to meditate and thrive in a volatile world, to meditate deeply. You're not just going to learn meditation from me, you're going to learn deep meditation the way I do it, which is sometimes like 1 hour to 3 hours to 4 hours. Sometimes, maybe twice a year, you might be even doing 6 hours. And it's fun. It's fun because you see that the power is hidden behind this. And you need to quiet all of this, and that the power emerges. And it emerges momentarily. But it emerges momentarily with such force that it gives you depth and insights that will stay with you days, in weeks, even months afterwards. So this is very important for high performers. And high performers are already dealing with so much chaos and volatility that they do need that, like, ironing out the wrinkles, that reset, that clarity, so that you can come back a better version of yourself. If you like this episode, then leave it like or stars on the platform that you're watching or listening to this on. I don't know which platform that is. I know I put it on YouTube and Spotify. Whichever platform you like, give me some affirmation there if you like it. If you don't, then sorry. And if you want to let me know what you think of anything that I've shared in this episode, then just leave me a review or a comment down below. And if you like Deep Topics with Sean and you want to see more, then subscribe to the podcast either on YouTube or Spotify. And I really appreciate you joining me. Join me, and you'll continue to hear from me week after week. Other than that, I want to thank you for watching and listening to this. And I want to wish you well with your week. And take care. This is Sean. Bye.